Hi everyone, welcome to my presentation. Today I am going to be discussing about domestic violence. My name is Katie Abedi. I'm a sophomore and my major is criminal justice and psychology. So to go right with the topic today, I basically define domestic violence as an abuse that someone occurs between in the family field, in the professional field, in a relationship, in it can be sexual or friendship relationship. It can also be in between marriage, and it usually happens in that way. It start with small little argument and small little um, unnecessary comment, and until the day occurs, and I'm gonna go into the subject real quick. So, according to the historical relevance of the issue, domestic violence has been something that has been occurring for a long time, and it has been very, very normalized, treated in a very slightest way. Just because some of the cases were considered as domestic, meaning that it was between marriages. So in the marriages, they just normalize the fact that the partner of the other person is abusing. It can either be sexually, verbally, or mentally, or physically. And just because we're in the marriage, it was considered as normal. So in the past centuries, like in the 19th centuries, it was not really considered as a crime or as a felony, just because in many cultures, especially in my African culture, it wasn't really considered as a crime because they always says that the man has a power over you, has the power to rule you, has the power to, like they say, to free themselves whenever they want to. So it's just been very, very difficult for women in the past centuries because they just had to keep quiet and just endorse it without any way, without saying anything. So the issue really began to take like an other turn, like public attention around like 1960s and 1970s, where everything was like me put into medias, and like everyone was talking about it. So now everyone was like informed about the subjects and knew what to do and how to say it. And I'm gonna go to the next subject and talk about laws created. So according to what was made, what was being spoken back there about like domestic violence, so the government came in with an act that's called the the Violence Against Women Act. It was made in 1994, which usually was providing funds for women that had been assaulted, stalking, like abused physically, especially. And also, they had put in some punishment as arresting people, putting jurisdiction like a police restraint, protection orders, and all these laws has really helped domestic violence to be shaped, kind of, to help in preventing it and to like kind of warn people that whoever tries to act in that way will be severely punished. So I'm the next topic will be the next title will be like why why did I'm gonna talk about why did domestic violence when did domestic violence became a main issue. So it really started to gain national attention in 1917s, largely due to the feminist movement that just came out and brought the issue in the public. These activities and organizations such as National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, and SCADV played a key role in raising awareness, challenging societal norms, and advocating for legal norms. So the people that were basically responsible of the mainstreaming issue were the women feminists who really had the courage to go and brought the issue in the eyes of the public and make the issue known and make people know that it was not legal or it was not moral to abuse of people of women, sorry. And the criminal justice response to all this just comes back to the fact that they had they really had a very good shape plan, which was arresting people in case they are found guilty, or no, in case like they were found guilty, they will be arrested. They will have a trial against that, and then most of the time this kind of issues were usually treated very very quietly in a very private way, just because the victim didn't want it to be out there and being exposed and be pointed at, talking about that she's been the one that has been raped, abused, or whatever. So the most one of the difficulties were also that um it was very hard to get the victim to talk about it and to assume that they actually have been abused in such ways and whatever. So when we talk about this, we also gonna approach the fact that we had the society response, and the society response to domestic violence has evolved significantly over time, with changing attitude toward both victims and and perpetrators. In the past, domestic violence was often overlooked or accepted as a private issue, with victim frequently blamed for the abuse. What I mean is just like in the past, in the 20th centuries, and then sorry, in the 19th centuries and 20th centuries, since it was already a private matter, the victims were usually blamed. They were accused that if the reason why they had been violated or abused, it was just because of their own, if it was because of their behavior, it was just their fault. So the public and everyone was just blaming them, stating that if it happens to them, it was their fault and nobody else's. And that was very hard for them to just keep on and keep on fighting against that. And they really had a hard time with that. They were really unpowerful about that because whatever they would try to do, they would just be shut down because the fault would just come back to them and nobody else's. The media has played a very, very, very important role in this because they are kind of responsible of shaping people's opinion on certain subjects, and but putting this in the public but in the right way, making the victims speak up for themselves, explaining everything or how everything were going. So this was very a significant change in between that. In the past, domestic violence was frequently seen in a way that it was very harmful. Stereotypes, such as portraying women as responsible for provoking the abuse or minimizing the abuse as personal matters. But however, over the years, documentaries, movie, TV shows, and everything address domestic violence as a serious societal issue. There were such like high profile cases such as those involving celebrity have drawn like very attentions to this abuse, which was very challenging in between saving the accused the abusive, the person, the victim, and also finding the right clues that just relate the victim to the person that was accused. And we also have, like, for example, if I have to go with an example like the BDD cases, with all things happening, all people coming through, he's still not found guilty. But just because one person spoke up, stood up, and spoke, and it really encouraged all the other people to come together and speak about the issue. Next, I'm going to talk about the trend in domestic violence. So, has the media has played a significant role in shaping public perception um, of domestic violence, involving from the portrayal that often minimize or justify the abuse to more recent representation of highlight severity and impact. In the past, domestic violence was frequently displayed in ways that reinforced harmful stereotype. Okay, so this was a very good thing because as of now, I won't really be able to tell if it has really increased or decreased, but I will basically say that it has kind of increased because there were some times we were, for example, when we went into the COVID-19 period, it was very hard. It was very hard because people have been were abused in the home house by whoever was coming in, but whatever was going on, everyone was abused, and it was all done in a very private spot. And just to talk about it, it was very not satisfying, and it was very not comfortable to talk about it. But then the man or the person that was doing the act was not actually being honest with himself and trying to, find ways how to fix it or to assume it. The reason why I will say that domestic violence is still a problem, despite the legal and society progress, domestic violence is still a big problem because I personally think it's a psychological issue. If someone is not true with himself, with his psychological state, with the way the person acts or the person speaks or address to other people, it should be a red flag, and that red flag should be cut right at the hand and be treated just the same day the red flag was there, just a minute. And the fact that it has been going on for years and years and it has been even more normalized makes it worse, and which why I think does not actually benefit anything to people. Here I have some stats. Before the pandemic, less than 40% of women experienced violent reported this crime. And yeah, this was like example of some countries. And then I have another one before the pandemic here. It says women and girls aged 15 to 14 experience sexual and or physical violence as intimate partner. So to conclude all this, domestic violence is just a form of abuse that needs a lot of effort to combat it. With everything, with like everyone's help, the government, the law enforcement, the victim, the family of the victims, the person they themselves, they have to all get it together, state the facts, and help the law enforcement do their job in order for them to like find a situation, find a solution to how to heal and how to punish the person publicly. And I personally think that women shouldn't be blamed for whatever violence happens, no matter what was the case or the situation. Thank you for listening and Merry Christmas.